West Tigers fans, welcome into another episode of the WestsLife Podcast. So much to talk about. Stefano is on the way out, but Shane Richardson has gone on the microphone to give us some assurance. Let's talk all about it on another episode of the WestsLife Podcast. We are underway. Another episode of the WestsLife Podcast. Huge show tonight. We are running late. Apologies to everyone watching us live on the YouTube channel. Even though we are running late, please give us a like if you're listening back to this. Give us a like, give us a share, subscribe if you haven't already. All the regulars in the chat. The chat's firing away. We appreciate you all hanging around. At WestsLife Pod on Instagram and Twitter, and you'll find the Linktree link in there to give you a link to all of our things that we do. If you want to find the audio version of this podcast, the YouTube channel, also our sponsors. Shout outs to iChoice coming in from the iChoice studio. Well, Rob and I are anyway, because Aaron has gone back in the time machine and he's found some COVID. How are you going tonight, Az? How are you feeling?
Yeah, g'day Josh, g'day Rob, g'day everyone watching and listening. Apologies for the delay. I feel all right at the moment. I was exposed to it over the weekend on Saturday night, but so far so good. But yeah, I figured for the health of you boys and your families that it would be best if I stayed away tonight. Assuming I don't feel anything tomorrow, I'll be back in action and off to Leichhardt on Thursday night. That's
all that matters. Is you're get to Leichhardt on Thursday night. We can't miss a Leichhardt game. And on my couch, I feel like Conan O'Brien interviewing a superstar. He's on the couch right next to me. How are you this evening, Mr. Bishara?
I'm well, Josh. Good to be here. Watching you sort out all these production issues is a lot of fun.
Yeah, we're coming from the iChoice offices, and I don't think Jason would have been very happy because I was ready to throw my laptop through his window, but of course, very respectful. And we're underway now. All is going well. Righto. We're going to get into the Tomo stuff. I'm just going to get everything loaded. Have you had a listen to the Behind the Raw with Richo this afternoon? It dropped at about 4 o'clock.
I did. I listened to it straight after I got done having a look at our team list, and I thought it was very much well worth a listen. Richo had some really strong things to say about certain players and situations at the club and things that previous management have effed up, I guess. And he was rather scathing of a few things as well. I thought it was a brilliant listen.
And Rob, you literally listened to it not long before we went to air. What were your impressions of Richo in this one?
Yeah, I think it was a much-needed podcast. Morale's been pretty low this week, especially for me and a lot of Tiger fans. So it was good for Richo to speak to everyone and be honest and forthright and just say how he feels and the direction of the club, where we're going. Wouldn't be surprised if he actually pulled Chris Warren aside and said, mate, we're doing a podcast tomorrow night, because it was really much needed. Very good listen. As Aaron said, I'd recommend anyone who hasn't listened to it yet to definitely listen to it. Did disagree with a couple of things.
First, though. Don't finish our episode first, then go listen to it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, finish our episode. Yeah, a little bit difficult with this echo in my ear, Josh, so pardon if I'm interrupting myself a little bit. But yeah, look, it definitely gave me a little bit more hope. The one thing that hasn't changed is I believe in Richo being the right man for the job. So it's just a matter of hopefully everything comes together in the next year or two, but there's a lot to sort out now.
Okay, which direction? So there's plenty, obviously. We'll talk about iChoice first as well, our sponsor. We'll give them both of our sponsors a shout out before we get into the audio. iChoice Home Loans. So if you are looking for a stockbroker, you are looking to buy a new home, Jason and his team at iChoice. Jason is a massive West Tigers fan, isn't he, Rob?
Yeah, former Balmain fan as well.
But also, as viewers would have known last week, he's got the Magpies jersey hanging on the wall. Massive Tigers fan. So if you want to talk Tigers while you're getting your home loan sorted, speak to Jason, 9743 40s or ichoice.com.au. Give him a follow on the socials as well. And of course, the OGs Mobile Corp. If you have a local businesses, they can manage your IT, your networks, and your mobile devices. If you are, we need Mobile Corp tonight. Fuck me. Where are you, Steve? Steve, give us a buzz. We need your help. This technical stuff. If you're a local business owner looking for a partner who can take away the hassle of dealing with IT issues, make sure you have cybersecurity in place. Handle all your mobile device needs, and Mobile Corp can help. Mobile Corp is a family-run business and long-time supporter of the West Tigers as well. If anyone else is out there owns a business, a West Tigers fan, give us a call. We're racking them up. What's Harry Tribugoff doing these days? Someone passes on to Harry. Reach out to Stephen and the team at Mobile Corp, mobilecorp.com.au, mobilecorp.com.au. Righto, on to Richo. Where should we start with Richo? Let's go the Stefano route. He's the...
I just wanted to get it off the books one way or the other. We made a more than a reasonable offer. I think probably too much of an offer in a lot of ways. But at the end of the day, we did want him to stay, but I was resigned that he was going to leave because you always do when it takes this long. And so we've had plans in the background, taking our time to spend the money. As I said, we've got over $2 million now in kitty, so we'll be very dangerous in the marketplace. Okay. But having said that, I wish the best to Stefano. We don't want to lose blood, but Stefano wanted to go on to try and win a premiership next year, and he'll go to a club that he thinks can do it that way. We weren't that club, so I wish him and his family the best.
We could be that club.
Rob, how do you think Richo's handled the Stefano situation?
I think he's handled it as best as he could. I mean, he gave him a little bit of a sort of backhand.
As can you hear, Rob?
Yeah, I can hear him.
Okay, sorry, keep going, Rob.
You're right. Look, what can he say? Like, I mean, we've tried to sell a story. We've tried to say, like, we're the future. We need you. Be a part of it. Richo was mentioned quite a few times today, the crocodile roll. We all want to be a part of the crocodile roll, which I think is a better term than bloody free falling at the moment, because it felt like a free fall, not a crocodile roll. Look, what do you say when you miss out on your guy? The difference, I would say, there's a lot of criticism of Richo saying, well, you couldn't get Stefano over the line. I think the difference is, like, he got Luai over the line. He's probably going to get other players over the line. How do you sell something to Stefano Utoikamanu when he's already a part of the furniture? He's already there. He's already seen what the environment's like. He knows what the coach is like. He knows what players around him are like. You can't sugarcoat or bullshit what's already been in front of him for a few years. So Stefano's made his mind up. I don't totally agree with what Stefano's doing, but I certainly agree with Stefano having the right to choose where he wants to go. And if he thinks, Canterbury or Melbourne is going to be a better opportunity, so be it. I still think he's got a lot of defensive issues. It's a bad piece for us to be missing. I hope he gets his best football ahead of him. It's just a pity he can't do it at the Tigers. And as I said last week, most of the players that leave our club tend to do better at other clubs. So again, this will probably be another bloke that will thrive elsewhere. And it's just a shame that, he didn't want to be a part of a team that's going to have a brilliant spine next year. I know it must be disheartening to see guys like Papali'i leaving, potentially Bateman not coming back, a few others. But look, he didn't want to be a part of it. And at the end of the day, if you don't want to be a part of the club, see you later. It is a business. You got to do what's best for you. We'll do what's best for us, and we'll move on.
Has anything to add to that?
No, I think that summed it up pretty well. I'm obviously pretty disappointed that Stefano's leaving, but like Richo said, if he doesn't want to lock himself into being in for the crocodile roll and then out the door he goes, I just think it's a bit disrespectful how Stefano's treated this entire situation. The fact that he clearly tanked his form to get out of, I guess, maybe the club wanting to keep him. I just think it's a bit disrespectful and honestly a little bit disgraceful, and I don't condone it, but I think he's going to be in for a bit of a rough treatment at Leichhardt on Thursday night. Yeah,
there may be some booing. It's pretty fun. The crocodiles, like, people should dress up as Steve Irwin or something. Put the blonde wig on get a crocodile to Leichhardt Oval or something.
Can we call Richo Crocodile Richo?
Crocodile
Rich? Crocodile Richo?
Richard Dial. I don't know.
Look, I don't want anyone to be booing Stefano Thursday night. He's a Tiger this year. We need to win on Thursday night. Just, have a bit of self-respect, and anyone that wears the Tigers jersey, don't boo them. Just, have a go. Be good.
You've never booed anyone before?
Don't you go there. Some of us learned from our lessons. Hashtag Badgergate.
I wasn't referring to that.
I know you're not, but I'm just saying it's just one of many things I've learned in my life.
Yeah. Right. Let's talk about Richo. Or let's listen to Richo talking about the playing roster.
At the 7-round mark, I felt I knew what we had in our kids, and I felt I knew what we had in our roster and the changes we had to make. So from that day forward with Benji, we moved forward and told the players concerned that they're not part of our plans going forward, sat down with their management and the players to talk to them about that. So we'd done it up front with them, no behind-the-scenes stuff or otherwise. I went to England to find out what was in the marketplace, what we could do, what we couldn't do. And we had a plan going forward with the roster, but you can't just take the roster and tear it apart because they've got contracts.
Yep.
What you've got to do is be upfront and tell them what your plans are and that they're not part of it, and work your way back from there. And that's what we're doing. And you'll find changes over the next 6 to 8 weeks in the roster that we've done in a logical fashion. We'll release up numbers for our top 30 because at the moment we haven't got the numbers in the top 30 to do a lot of things, but we will. And from that point onwards, we'll be in a strong position to make plays for players that'll make a difference. And at the same time, you got to remember these young kids were 19-year-olds. Some weren't even 19-year-old. Well, most of them weren't 19-year-old at the start of the year. We even had a 17-year-old in there who's playing.
Yeah.
So they came into pre-season with no idea. It was like kids in a lolly shop. Well, how long has this been going on for? Now they know. And also, we know how hard we need to be with them and how tough we need to make them. Benji had to mould them into this year, take them, not treat them softly at all, but it's a big thing to come into the NRL. And I think he's done a great job of that. But now they've got an understanding what it takes to win games in the NRL, and they've got to improve off the mark. Secondly, the rest of the squad that are there, they've got to take a leadership role to become absolutely committed. We need to be the fittest and strongest. We need to cross every T, dot every I, absolutely leave no stone unturned because, we're going into pre-season with a squad that we want to get ready to try and make the top 8 next year.
As I say, GD Tiger in the comments saying it's hard to buy this narrative. It's been promised so many times before, but as not by someone with Richo's caliber.
Yeah, Richo definitely has the CV that shows that he is capable of doing these things and willing to make the hard decisions to get the club on the right track. And he's proven that already with his talk about plans for like the stadium strategy moving forward, as well as other things like the plan. I forget what the plan was called earlier in the year, but that plan that he sat down and made. Like he's done this before. He's done it at Souths. He's done it at Penrith. He's been at clubs where the whips have needed to be cracking, and he's been the one doing the hard yards and helping the clubs get better. And I think it's safe to say that we are in better hands with Richo than we were with Dumb and Dumber previously.
Anything to add to that?
No, not really. I just think Richo's workload has been enormous. The amount of things he's had to change at the club. There's just so many things on so many levels. And unfortunately, but it's a good thing too, Richo's had to micromanage a lot of that. Like he's got his hands on that playing roster. He's looking at the juniors. As he said, he's watched 7 or 8 games. We've discussed last week, he's got to handle the home ground situation. He's got his finger in every pie, and he's just trying to adjust things and make things as best as they can. What he's done is enormous, but at the same time, it doesn't mean we're going to get short-term success. And look, I have some question marks over certain things going on. Like I believe in what he says. I just don't know. He said some things today which actually reinforce some of my own thoughts, and I actually question the coaching. Okay, to be brutally honest. He mentioned Melbourne being a club where they have established players go there, and whereas Penrith are a feeder club, and he's talking about us being a feeder club. If you haven't heard it yet, he said that you need 17 players, to win a premiership. We've probably got about 8 or 9, and
that clip.
Yeah, okay. Well, and the balance are the other 8 or 9. And I'm thinking to myself, well, is Benji the right coach to develop those players? Certainly, Benji is a wonderful man manager. Everyone seems to love him. You know, he's respected. He's got that aura about him that to be a head coach. But I don't see, other than Samuel Afenu, I don't see individuals improving in their skill level. And we discussed last week about certain IQ parts of the game. I don't know if Benji's that guy to develop those 8 or 9 juniors. And, you know, without digressing too much, what concerns me, you know, when he said like last week, I'm still learning, I'm still improving, we're all still learning. We need a head coach that knows it. We don't need a head coach that is still learning. It's not Benji's fault. Like he's just been thrown into the job, but we need someone that knows what to do. And my example to you, Josh, would be, you know, if your kid's, you know, Ducks of year 6 and he can pick any high school he wants, are you going to go to school Benji, or are you going to go to school Bellamy, or are you going to go to school Cleary? What's going to be the best environment for your son, you know, at a school? And that's how a player manager or a parent is going to look at their players. So if we're still going pretty badly in a couple of years, why would Galvin hang around? Why would Talon De Silva hang around? So that definitely concerns me. I don't know if Benji's the right guy. And ultimately, he's going to be judged on wins and losses. And again, I know he's trying his best. I know he's going to try even harder next year, because I don't think he realised how hard the gig was going to be. But I don't think the roster he's had the last 2 years should have been finishing last. And if we can touch on that later, I'd actually like to go into that a little bit.
Yeah, just want to DJ Lods on the YouTube here says, I know we're at the bottom of the ladder, so more media attention. I swear NRL CEOs are never involved in the media unless they're a Tigers CEO letting NRL clubs know we have a war chest. Well, you probably do want to let people know you have a war chest, because all the player managers will come knocking on your door. So I think letting people know that we have, hey, we've got money to spend, show us what you got. You'll get clubs that might be looking to offload someone, maybe a Brian To'o. There's lots of people bringing up in the comments, whoever it is. I think that's fine. But I get what he's saying. Like the CEO, and we were inundated with JP and his interview show. So I think it's a bit different with Richo. It's not like he's not doing it, hosting a show. He's just coming on every now and then, letting the fans know. Because the club, obviously, and you can tell Chris Warren by a few things that he says in the podcast, that the club, people are sending some pretty angry stuff their way. Fans are kind of fed up. And I think Richo, I think Pascoe was doing it to say, hey, look at me. But I think Richo's doing it to say, hey, like trust me, sort of thing. I think it's a very different way about it that Richo is going about it. Would you agree with that, Rob?
I would say to GD Tiger, I don't know Shane Richardson. I would say, though, that Shane Richardson does not give a stuff about what the NRL thinks. He came out and said what he said today for the members and the fans of the West Tigers. Yep. He wants to keep our hope up, because he knows without hope, there's nothing. He was honest. He was forthright. Whether you believe him or not, that's up to you. But I'll give you an example when you're comparing CEOs. Pascoe, you know, it is their fault. Pascoe tried to get Cameron Ciraldo to our club as coach. When we failed the second time, did he address us? Did we get an email? Did we get a podcast? He just ran and hid. Richo's missed out on Stefano, and he's come right up to the stumps. He's faced us full frontal.
Wished him well.
And he's wished him well, and he's explained to the fans, this is our plan, this is what we're doing. He's owned it. He knows, he said we wanted him and we didn't get him. But instead of hiding like Justin Pascoe would have and just deflecting it and maybe coming out with some other story to deflect from the fact that they failed to get Ciraldo, Richo's come out and he's being honest and upfront with the fans and members. And whether you like it or not, whether you believe him or not, I accept GD Tiger saying, you know, we've heard it all before. Fucking oath, we've heard it before. I'm sick of it. But like you said earlier, Richo's got the runs, or Aaron said, Richo's got the runs on the board. He's done it at South. He's done it at Penrith. You know, he's done it in England. Like, he can get a club from the bottom up. And I tell you now, like, I know I'm having my, you know, say a little bit to say about the coaches. Richo's got Benji's back 100%. But I tell you now, if Benji's going like, you know, crap first half of next year, Richo's not going to put up with it.
Yeah.
So he's just going to do whatever it takes.
He does say in the podcast that, like he talks about Benji, if he wasn't he was the whole thing about blowing up at senior players, and he said he actually likes that about Benji. He goes, if Benji wasn't doing that, then I would start rethinking. And he used kind of the language of I would start rethinking about Benji. So it doesn't seem like Benji is 100% immortal.
I think the Bateman stuff about, saying that he treats the senior players differently to the juniors or treating the juniors better than the seniors, I think that's a load of crap. But at the same time, any of us could put a coach's hat on and blow up players for not doing the right thing. What I want to see Benji do is improve those players. I want the skill level to be better. We're talking about, other players. Like I said, Lau Lee last week running the ball on the last tackle 5 meters out, down by 10 points with 10 minutes to go. That's why do we teach that? Passing the ball on the first tackle, not getting to your kick after you scored a try and turning the ball over. Needless passes like Charlie Staines to Buller last week. It was a poor pass, but there's no need to do that. Like, these are the things, New Zealand scored a try from that. Like, teach them to be better. Like, just be better. Like, you can't keep saying, oh, it's the players' fault. They made the mistakes. You're the coach. Fix it. I know you can't fix it overnight, but we're seeing the same errors, the same sin bins, the same. Yeah, but they're not all kids. We've seen Bateman do it. We've seen Adam Dwayhe make mistakes. We've seen Seyfarth make mistakes. We've seen all the guys that have played 50 to 300 games make mistakes. It's not just the kids that have played 3 or 4 games. They're the excuses I don't want to hear every week. I don't want to keep hearing, oh, he's learning, and 10 rounds into next year, oh, he's only 18. He's only played 12 games. Who underneath Benji is teaching these players the basics and the fundamentals and adding strings to their bow, making them better? Like, that's what our club needs to be. We need to be a club. When you come to our club, you become a better player. What is our coaching whole department like and making players better? Because I look at that roster and it should never be coming 17th ever in a million years.
Right here is Richo talking about the roster. Good segue.
Well, look, I think you've got to have 17 players to win a grand final, and you've got to have 30, and back up. But if you haven't got 17 that are capable of winning a grand final, you're going to struggle. We're not in that position at the moment. I think we've probably got 9 at the moment. We need to develop 4 or 5 more of our own, which is we've been doing this year with our juniors. I'd like to think that we could have 8 juniors in a grand final of our young juniors. Our juniors are coming through. So if you've got 8 juniors in the grand final, then you have 5 hard workers that do the job. We've got a few of those, but we need more that do the job in the middle of the thing. Then you have your elite 3 or 4, and we've got those. I mean, in Luai, Coruscant, Galvin, we've got some really quality players who can take us the distance. But we need to add to it, and we know what we need to add to it. We've got a $2 million war chest. We've got a $2 million war chest there at the moment. It's a lot of money. We need 2 or 3 players. Up front, obviously need another middle. I know what else we need. I'm not going to say it because we're pretty close to fixing that. But having said that, we have a plan going forward. We've got some great young kids that we've brought through, and Benji's had to, tirelessly work with them. Some people make comments about him favouring the juniors. I don't think he's favoured the juniors at all. He's thrown them out in the marketplace, thrown them at the wall against the NRL clubs, and they've come up trumps, most of them. And our second grade side's got better and better. We're putting a lot of depth into our second grade side for next year outside the top 36 to give us some experienced players that can also tap on the door for first grade, because I honestly believe your second grade side's got to be competitive to put pressure on your first grade side. But we inherited the roster this year, and we're doing everything. It's not just a matter of waging a magical wand. There's contracts in place, and you've got to gradually, weed out what you don't require and replace it with what you do require. 3 years ago, Bulldogs struggled, got rid of players. It takes a while to rearrange your roster. They're more than competitive at the moment, and will be the same in a couple of years.
What are your thoughts on Richo? Yeah, the things he's saying there about the roster. He basically is saying don't need to blow it up. Just a couple of additions with that war chest that he's mentioned several times across the podcast.
Yeah, I think it's quite obvious that we've been struggling a little bit and lacking a little bit of depth, especially when it comes to our reserve grade squad. I think what he's saying there about how he wants to build the team in regards to like how many juniors and experienced hard workers and stars and stuff like that. I think that's actually pretty solid. I like the idea of around that sort of 8 juniors number, because it gives you a bit of a I guess, a building block from the ground up in your club and from your junior ranks, where you can start to say, okay, these are the positions that we have nailed down 110%. Now, where do we need to fill in the gaps around that? He mentioned, obviously, second rower being a position that he knows we need a little bit more oomph. And he mentioned a second position, but didn't mention what it was. I'm going to have a guess that that's centers, because I think that's a bit of where we're struggling at the moment in regards to who we have in the team and who we have outside the team who still can't work their way back into the team. And then obviously we've got the experienced guys like Appy and Luai coming to the club, and I'm amazed he said Luai for the first time, I think, ever. And yeah, I think he's nailed that part of the discussion pretty well.
He calls Stefano in one of them. I thought that was quite funny.
Yeah, I cracked up when you said
but yeah, no more Luau, unfortunately. Anything to add with Richo's thoughts on the roster there, Fredo?
No, well, again, just for those that didn't hear what he had to say, he also said you need your reserve grade team to be really strong to push those first grade team, and we're going to get some experience in there next year to make that a better team. And he complimented our win, I think, last weekend. And I think it goes back again to what I tried to say to you guys a few weeks ago about I'd love to have Aiden Caesar sort of be there, even if he's not going to be our first grade halfback, which he won't be, with Luai and Galvin there. Just have that experience there. You know, he's best days are behind him, but if need be, he's probably still good enough to play a couple of games in first grade. So that sort of gives me a little bit of encouragement. But again, I do question, like, even if we do get these players, do we have the right man to take us forward?
It's a fair point. Righto, Richo. Well, that's a good segue.
Well, Benji's chums a lot of players. They don't talk about. I mean, they've made this into a bigger thing because he left that the next day, did not left the next day, but it didn't have it. That night was when we first talked about thing. But Benji didn't just have a robust conversation with John Bateman. Benji had a robust conversation with all the senior players.
There you go.
So that's a fact. And as I said, if Benji wasn't doing things like that, then I'd be worried about Benji. I'd be really having a close look at Benji. Because he does that, because he tries to bring these young kids through, it's not about being patient. He'll just get better and better at the coaching job. My job's to give him every tool possible to make that happen for next year.
What do you think he means by tools, Rob?
Just means to put the right people around him, to give him the support as a coach. Anything that he needs, it has to be there, whether it's from a strength and conditioning point of view, or whether it's just an attacking coach, defensive coach, whatever it may be. Again, I'll just hear me out for a minute. Let me paint you a picture. We got the wooden spoon in 2022, right? Let's just imagine, let's go back to 2022. We sacked Madge halfway through the year. We had players wanting out. We had a pretty rubbish forward pack. We had Luciano Leilua leave. And if you looked at our forward pack that year, we had Joe Offengawi, who I think might have been our player of the year that year. He tried hard every week. Not a superstar, but was a pretty decent player. You look at our pack and we had an up-and-coming Steph, looked pretty good in attack. We debuted Fanua Bole in about round 16. He had a pretty decent couple of games. We kept him in first grade all year. But other than that, our pack was pretty bad.
Sean Ball was out injured.
Well, he was out injured. Now, what if I told you and Aaron and the listeners at the end of 2022, next year, remember, Benji was de facto coach in 2023. He's the one that had the headphones on in the box. So I know this is his official first year, but he was basically coach in 2023. What if I told you in 2022, I'm going to get Benji Marshall, former Origin and Australian prop David Clemmer. I'm going to get him 3-time premiership winning hooker Appy Coruscant. I'm going to get you Isaiah Papali'i, who's just lost the grand final with Parramatta. Okay, and he's probably in the top 3 damaging back rowers in the game, along with David Fafita and Viliami Kikau. I'm going to get you John Bateman, England international, who was the rock of Canberra's pack, on the right edge there, been to a grand final in 2019. I'm going to add that to Stefano, to Joffa, to Fanua.
Sean Blaw's
back. Look at that pack, Josh. How do you think we're going to go in 2023 now? How are you feeling? How are we going to go in 2023? We're not going to come last, mate. We're not going to lose our first 7 or 8 games. So that's why I keep coming back to, I'm a bit worried, no matter who we sign, do we have the right coach to take us further, because there is no way with that pack you come last and you shouldn't be demolishing teams. And now we look at it and we're thinking, oh, well, we're getting rid of Papali'i and we know he's going to kill it at the Panthers, and Bateman probably won't come back. I've heard we're still trying to offload Clemmer. Maybe we're not going to offload Clemmer now because we need to fill most of our cap space. Like, I don't know. Like, it's hard to find middles. So that's what bothers me. Like, I just think we had the chance. We had a great pack for the last couple of years, and we came last in 2023 by 2 points or a game or two, and you know, we're fighting it out with Parramatta this year. I don't know. Like I said, I love Benji as a person. Like, he's a great bloke. I've heard a lot of good things about him from people I know that are friends with him. I love Benji, the player. And I know he's trying his ass off as a coach. I just don't know if he's the right coach. And is Benji Marshall the sort of guy? And I wouldn't blame him for saying no to this. But like, what if Richo says to him, "Hey mate, you need help. I need to get you Brad Arthur. I need to get you Jason Demetra. I need to get you whoever to help you." Like, is he going to be able to swallow his pride and say, "I'll take that"? Because really, he shouldn't have to swallow his pride. He's a head coach. He should be able to say, "Well, I want this bloke. I trust this bloke. I trust that bloke. I want these guys around me." But if you keep coming last, how often are we going to keep saying, "Oh, these juniors are coming through, these juniors are coming through," and then they leave? And we don't want to get to a point where we did with Jason Taylor, Josh, where all this crap happen and we're still coming last and we lose Tedesco and Moses. And we don't want the next Tedesco and Moses to be Galvin and De Silva. Like, we've got to sort this out. And I just feel like if Benji really doesn't get his act together in the off season, like, I know we're fit, but I don't think we're as fit as the other 16 teams.
Couple of counter arguments in the comments.
Yeah, go for it. Let me read them
out. Without a half, you come last, Rob. You said, look at Parramatta without Moses, which is pretty good point. Without Moses, they've been pretty rubbish. And then Slade Batty said the same thing. We had
but before that happened, Josh, like I mentioned all those players, before we got those guys, we had Jackson Hastings. I know he's going to get shipped off to England. He just got dropped to reserve grade this week, but the guy was a decent game manager. Like, we're the ones choosing and deciding who's going to be in our roster. That comments, I accept all that, but you don't come last with that forward pack. You might come at the back half. You might not make the finals. You don't come last.
Yep. Injuries as well. Injuries been pretty bad. Got to throw that in.
Really?
Suspensions.
It was suspensions this
year. Suspensions, but I think injuries, we were pretty good for the first half of the year, really. It was only who was injured. We had Lockie suspended after we beat Parramatta. That was a big out because we lost to the Dolphins next week. That was a really winnable game.
This year or last year?
This year.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't.
Was out for a while. Last year, remember we lost Appy for quite a while too. For Feeder breaking his jaw.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but that was like the season was gone by then. That was a Gold Coast game. That was a Gold Coast game. There was the Tino incident.
Sorry, not Peter. Sorry.
Yeah.
We were also missing Appy this year against the Dogs, and I reckon if we have Appy in that game against the Dogs when we're leading by 14-0 at halftime, I think we go on to win that game too.
Maybe, but I guess you got to be able to cover injuries. Right, here's Richo talking about suburban grounds.
Back a step.
Yep.
So let's look at Leichhardt Oval. So there's no way in the world, despite everybody running around patting themselves on the back, that if West Tigers hadn't stood up and said, "We're not going to play there unless you come up with the money," that we would have got the money.
Doesn't happen.
The mayor said it. So let's be truthful about that. So we've prompted that. So when they came up with the money is in stages. Next year, all I'll be doing is spending $1 million on doing all the preparations and everything. So there'll be nothing done next year. The start of any building will happen the year after. How long that takes to spend the $40 million and where they spend the $40 million will be crucial to how many games you play in the future. So we've done a deal for 2 years, and the deal was, and to be fair to the NRL, they've given us, which is unusual, the last trial for the next 3 years at Leichhardt Oval, which means we'll play the last trial. I think we'll be playing the Bulldogs there in the last trial next year. It hasn't been confirmed yet, but I think that's what you get a bit of an exclusive there. But we have to confirm that. So that'll be every year there. And that we'll be getting our members heavily involved with what happens on that day. Then we've got 3 fixture matches there. We don't know who the fixtures are yet because we haven't got the draw. So that's based on when do they actually finish those the development, and then how much that disrupts the season.
Yeah.
Who knows what's going to happen in 2026 or 27? So at the end of the 2 years, we'll reevaluate if they spend the money at Leichhardt Oval, who knows what we're going to, and how they spend the money. That they spend it on rejuvenating the ground, that northern stand with new seating and what's the name, dressing rooms, toilets, facilities for our members. I'm sitting on the panel that's working on that, but at the end of the day, they've got to show us what they're going to do. At the moment, they've got the 40 million.
Yeah.
They haven't shown us how they're going to spend it. So let's be clear about that, and we want to make sure that we get the best deal possible for our members there. Campbelltown's in a different situation. They've actually got the money already, and they're going to be starting work. What that work means is that the ground will lose capacity over the next 18 months as they build the things that are required, which is again a standard at the northern end, with a similar sort of thing to Leichhardt, upgraded seating, etc. around it, and we'll have a boutique stadium then of 18,000 with about 1,200 to 1,300 corporates. Yeah, it'll be an ideal, but they've got the money, and we're only umming and ahhing there simply because we don't know what sort of numbers we're going to lose while the rebuild goes on.
So, as taking all that into account, are you a little bit more sympathetic? We all, in terms of the Combank situation, a lot of people have already had comments on our stream tonight already. A lot of people angry that we're going back to Combank, but by the sounds of it, Richo, he's pushing hard to get the facilities back in shape that we can have our cake and eat it too, and go to our beloved suburban grounds and say goodbye to Combank again.
Yeah, I kind of thought it was inevitable that we'd be heading back to either a core or Combank or one of the bigger stadiums like that. I get why he didn't choose ANZ Stadium or a core or whatever you want to call it, because it does feel a little bit more soulless. I mean, you can pack a lot more fans in there, but the image on TV of a 3/4 empty stadium, even if you've got say 20 to 25,000 in there, it still looks and feels pretty bad. Yeah, plus, you've also your fans at the ground, especially on the around the ends of the field behind the goalposts. They're so far away from the action because it was used as a running track. So I get why Combank was the choice. Obviously, it's better stadium, better viewing. I remember sitting there with you and my brother and my dad for Easter Monday. We were maybe 7 rows up the top level behind the goalposts, and we had a bloody good view of the entire stadium. Even down the far end, we could very clearly see what was going on. And so I kind of thought it was going to happen. I'm not a fan of it per se, and I've said that before, but I think the main thing is he's trying to do something that's going to improve our identity, especially at the ground that feels so much like another team's ground. But in saying that, it is not that team's ground. It is a council ground, because the Parramatta Eels are not the only team that play there. The Western Sydney Wanderers play there, and I have a feeling there are probably other teams. Just like Allianz Stadium isn't solely the Roosters. Sydney FC play there, and probably other teams too. So it's not just about it's not just about being or a ground being another team's ground. But I think the only other issue really with Campbelltown is the parking or lack of, and how much of an absolute nightmare it is to get out of that train station car park.
Especially when you get a parking fine.
Yeah. Well, I mean the car park across.
The car park. Don't park in that fucking thing. Yeah, we made that mistake.
That's a nightmare. I remember being maybe 3 rows worth of cars from the back. Yeah. And there was like about a 45 to 60 minute period where my car just didn't move at all, because I had to wait for other cars ahead to all creep in one by one. And then only by the time it gets to my area, like one car moves in, and then it's back to the front, and more cars are moving in up the front again. And by the time I got out of that game, it was probably an hour and a half after full time, plus most of the rows of cars in front of where I was were all empty. So if you can really only park there if you're going to get there early, and get a spot close to the front, so it's easier to get out. Otherwise, you're screwed because you're waiting so fucking long.
Yeah, I never parked there.
So I think that's the other sort of thing that we really appreciate at Campbelltown. better parking options, but obviously that's not the club's responsibility. That's like a council thing. If anything can be done about that in that regard. But on this topic as well, there's one thing I'd like to know from Richo, and that is if he's got any plans or ideas to get in touch with the NRL to get us more double headers, particularly with our NRLW team, especially because that season's going to increase in length next year with 2 extra teams.
Yeah, right.
We are the only one of the 10 teams this year that doesn't have a double header between our men's and women's team at one of our home games. Our women's team have 4 home games out of 9 for the second season in a row. Last year, only 2 of those home games were at our home grounds. This year, all 4 of them are. We've got 2 at Campbelltown and 2 at Leichhardt. Yep. But we don't have a match on the same day as a men's game. I think our next Campbelltown game for the women is in round 4. So that's 2.5 weeks from now.
Yep.
But we have that game, I think, is on a Saturday or a Sunday. I forget which one.
Be Leichhardt Thursday.
Round 24. Is it round 20? Okay, no, never mind. One of them, I know some week, there's a week where we go to Campbelltown for the men on Saturday and for the women on Sunday. And I think it's the round 24 and NRLW round 4, which is so frustrating, especially living so far away, that we have to go to Campbelltown to support our teams 2 separate days. So it's like going to take 4 hours of my day driving there, or 4 hours of my weekend driving there and back twice to watch the team.
Should be able to camp on the hill.
Yeah, like in round 3, we've got an away game against the Roosters at Gosford, and I'm pretty sure the Roosters men's team play a game in Gosford next week. So that's a doubleheader for them. We've got an away doubleheader with the Titans this week because they have a home game after our women's team plays theirs. And it's just really frustrating that we are the only team that don't have a doubleheader between our men's and women's teams.
Anything to add, Rob, on the suburban ground part?
Yeah, Aaron, I can answer that question for you about next year. And this is the genius of Richo. We're going to be at Combank because they have female dressing rooms, and we will have double headers at ANZ at Combank Stadium. And that's the reason we can't have them at Leichhardt and Campbelltown, because we don't have female facilities. You can't have 2 games there on the same day when they don't have their own dressing rooms.
That makes sense.
So until we get the female dressing rooms up at Campbelltown and Leichhardt, you will never get double headers there. And that is actually one of the main reasons Richo has chosen Combank, because it's going to save the club by having double headers with the women, because it is an extended season. As Aaron mentioned, we're going to save about $50,000 every time by having double headers there, as opposed to running them separately. So Richo's not only doing the smart thing, he's, like it's a monetary thing as well.
Chess, not checkers.
Yeah, he's saving $50,000 a game. So you'll find, I'm pretty sure you'll find all our Combank games will be double headers next year.
Well, that's good as. There you go.
So they all have to be late in the season then, and all of the suburban games early in the season, because the NRLW won't kick off until mid-July.
Exactly right. So you find most of our Leichhardt and Campbelltown games
in the middle of
first
winter.
Half of the year.
Start of the year. That's all right. When it's warm, Campbelltown in the middle of winters can be pretty. Also, can Leichhardt be pretty brutal. Like it will.
Bad for away teams.
Campbelltown was bloody chilly on Sunday.
Yeah, I bet it was.
Yeah, I'll tell you that much.
Especially in the first 15 minutes of the game. That's a pretty good segue. The segues tonight, boys, perfectly. Here's Richo talking about the girls.
The game to sell.
Yeah, it has. And, a lot of the selling of sponsorship for the women's game is easier than the male's game because of the lack of timing with, behaviour off the field, et cetera, et cetera. And there's a lot more sponsors now involved who would never be involved with the male's game, but want to be involved with the women's game, and that's been fantastic. West MacArthur, for example, have poured a lot of money into our supporting our women's team, and I think that it's a growing part of our business, and I think the NRL, and obviously being on television and everything else, it's going to get big. I can't believe the explosion. The game 5 years ago to what the game is today is just a completely different game.
As some, good things. Obviously, as our NRLW correspondent, you'll be happy with the things Richo's saying there.
Yeah, I am. And it's something that I agree with and I stand by. quite a bit the fact that the growth of the women's game has been absolutely insane, both on and off the field. Obviously, they're earning a little bit more in the salary cap, and that's increasing year after year. It's still really low, much lower than it should be, but increases of any sort are good. I do wish the season was a bit longer, and I think a lot of the players feel that way as well. I think they're in the sort of boat of wanting to play every team twice, especially while there aren't as many teams, because it would increase the length of the season. It would give them a little bit more stability around their careers and their livelihoods and things of that nature. But he's also absolutely correct about how the lack of issues off field in particular are helping grow the game from a sponsorship market, because so many brands are happy to jump on board because the on-field product is good. Off-field, there aren't too many dramas. There's been a couple already this year off field, especially with a young Parramatta Eels player. But yeah, overall, it's really promising, really good signs. I think I remember Georgie Main were one of the first brands to jump exclusively on our women's team last year, as that was just getting up and running, and they've got a pretty strong base within the club themselves now. Yet there's a lot of good things coming out of the growth of the NRLW. Obviously, the fact that Australia and England are going to be facing off in Vegas next year, the increase of Origin from a 1 to a 2 to now a 3-game series is really exciting for the women's game and the fans as well.
Okay, that's it for Richo. Now we're going to talk our special Cowboys guest. He's been patiently waiting. I told him a specific time, but yeah, we were running a little bit late. So look, we don't have to spend that much time reminiscing about the Cowboys, the Warriors loss. Rob, can you bring yourself back to Friday last week? What's your assessment of the game in New Zealand?
Look, I thought it was a disappointing performance, even though there was a strong second half comeback. Not again, just like South Sydney did the week before. The Warriors got off to a really fast start. I thought we did pretty well to repel them quite a bit, considering they were in our own end, for a long period of time. The Warriors were quite disjointed in their attack. I agree with, I'm sure you'll play Benji Marshall's stuff later about the presser, but I agree with what Benji said about Tuivasa-Sheck. He definitely saved at least 2 tries. He was very good for them. I just thought our defense was really, really shoddy at times. Some of the things I saw in certain parts of the game made me scratch my head and think, why is Twally standing at centre, one in from the wing and stuff like that. There was just some diabolical plays, but look, they tried hard. That's one thing with the Benji team this year. The effort's been there most games. I'd say probably other than 3 games, the intensity's been there. They tried hard, but they're just lacking polish. They're just lacking a bit of class. Galvin did his best. He tried everything. He's always there in attack. Appy's got his hand in everything, probably too many things. But again, little things like that kick for touch that Appy didn't kick out. Why is Appy kicking for touch? Like, the guy's got a bad calf. I know he already does our goal kicking. Let Lockie Galvin kick for touch. Just little things like that. Like, Appy doesn't have to do everything. He's doing the line dropouts. He's doing this. The guy's got a bad calf. He had a bad calf last year. Come on, man. Give him a break. He's
goals.
He's doing everything.
Yeah.
But look, they tried hard, but I just thought the Warriors were always going to win. Their forward pack rolled through us quite easily. Disappointed, if I was picking out guys I expected better from. Again, I thought Steph didn't have another good game. Obviously, he's got other things on his mind. He's probably clocked out.
Led meters, though.
Yeah.
It wasn't that many, but yeah.
I know. Look, it's just, mate, like I said to you, week after week, as much as, we'll be there on Thursday watching the boys and hope they do well, but at the same time, I just want this season to be over. I really do.
Good point by Liam here. So we won the second half in both the women and the male games this week. How
many competition points do we get for that, Josh?
I know. It's a very similar story, isn't it? They kind of get away from us, and then they kind of start to feel, it's almost they get in the groove a bit. I felt like a lot of the games this year, the team kind of comes out a bit shaky and unorganized, and then they kind of get in the groove and it's too late, sort of thing. I think this is another one of those games. What are your thoughts on the Warriors game, Az?
Yeah, I think Rob's summed it up fairly well. Overall disappointing. Good to see signs of life in the second half, but doesn't win us any competition points, and we're still last on the ladder and battling with Para for the spoon. It's disappointing, but it is what it is. Yeah, not much really more to add.
Yeah, well, we're getting the player ratings, so I guess we'll talk about individual players. But yeah, Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, like he said, yeah, he was very, very good. It's annoying that they, like Benji said,
it's absolutely insane when he is your third choice fullback and comes in and absolutely fucking tears up.
Benji, wise, a bit all over the shop with it, but no 9 or 10s, obviously, for this one, but a few 1s, a few 2s, a few 3s, a few 4s, a half, fair whack at 5. It's kind of mixed bag for Benji there. In terms of player ratings, the Isaiah Papali'i returning with a 92.6, Api Coruscant 77.8, and then a couple of 70s for Samuela and Talon da Silva. So, and then the other Fainus got pretty good, 66, 63, and then a 59 for Lockie Galvin. I think Lockie Galvin a bit better than a 6 out of 10. Is 6 out of 10 about right?
He's my man of the match, mate.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll go through it shortly, but yeah, I just think the guy doesn't stop trying. I think one thing that summed up our season, that the play that Lockie got injured on, where he got ankle tapped, trying to attempt an inside-out kick with his right foot, that from that play the ball, it's one of the most diabolical plays I've ever seen in my life. Nothing to do with Galvin, just like ball not going to the intended person. It was just comedy capers, and it just shows there's just a lack of structure there or idea. And again, maybe because there's so much positional shuffling, which, as Richo said in the podcast, Benji's got to try things, but just no one knows where their place is on the field, mate. It's not good enough. It's not NRL standard.
As any numbers there, you think are a bit unfair?
Yeah, again, I think Lockie is way too low. I feel like maybe Jareem Buller deserves a little bit better than 44%, because I thought he was quite decent as well. Otherwise, I think everyone else is fairly solid. Appy, probably maybe a little bit higher, maybe close to that mark. Yeah.
And the downvote, Stefano got the biggest whack with 16. Stafford Toa with 15. Poor Stafford Toa's done the other hamstring now, and he's Gornsky's again, the poor guy. But I think Stefano, he led it in meters, but I think people a bit of an emotional attachment. You've mentioned, you talked about him already. Was he bad? Was he meh? Or was he just, we're pissed off at him and we're noticing that he's...
No, I just see he might not be getting involved as much in running the ball, Josh, but I just see with his defence, there was one play when Aden Fanua-Blake ran straight at Talon da Silva off the ruck. And if you go from that previous play, the ball, Niokore took a run. There was Stefano and there were 2 other forwards in that tackle. And Stefano just didn't lock the ball up properly, didn't get him to the ground, didn't get to marker, didn't get back to the A defender. But he was just nowhere. And I just thought, what are you doing, mate? And at the same time, though, I'm sure he's trying his hardest, but I'm not a fan of Stafford Toa. I mean, one of those tries in the first half, it was 3-on-3. There's just nothing to it. It's 3-on-3, and he needlessly jams in. And I keep thinking to myself, okay, he jammed in. You can say that's a player's decision. Why? What's John Morris or Benji Marshall, what are they teaching him? Why couldn't he stay on whatever Ali Lauer, whatever his name is? And instead, why did he have to jam in? Trust your inside defender. It's 3-on-3. There's just no need to come in. Leaves the overlap, and there's tries there. We just play dumb footy. Lockie put a bomb up in the middle of the second half. I don't know what Toa was doing. Toa must have come in. He was way too late to contest the ball. And then I think from the next play the ball, they caught us short on the left-hand side because we got Steph at A defender, Twal number B defender, and then your winger. and so one of the backs just runs around Twally. Like, I don't know what's going on there, man. I don't want to see this crap. I don't want to see, trumpets in the bloody string section. Like everyone's got a place to be on the field, but Toa just doesn't learn. He had a shit game against Canberra in the first game of the year, and he had a shit game, last weekend. I'm sorry for the bloke that he did his hamstrings, but he's not first grade standard. He's not one of the 9 pieces that Richo's talking about.
I reckon we could get as a defensive coach. Use our women in the rugby nines, rugby sevens. Defense against the Irish last night, unreal. So many times, because in sevens they score frequently. I thought so many times the Irish are going to go in. These girls, unbelievable. Got to hope they're going for gold tonight. Hopefully. As anyone else, any other players you want to pick on? We'll do 3, 2, 1.
No, not really for the poor performers. I think Rob summed it up pretty well.
Yeah.
I probably would have had Stafford Toa as the worst player of the game, but I mean, probably 50-50 as far as that's concerned. So my 3-2-1, I gave my 3 to Appy. I think the main reason I gave Appy my 3 was his effort, determination. He scored that last try for us, and he never gave up. That's probably the one thing about Appy, is he never gives up. His leadership may not be up to the standard that we need it to be at this point, but I think that'll get better with Luai coming in next year. But he's one of those players that gives his all, doesn't give up. He tries to pitch in wherever he can. Probably tried a little bit too much, like Rob said earlier. Probably shouldn't have had too much of the kicking duties, but I mean, you can't really fault him for trying to get something going for the team when nothing is really going for them. I gave Isaiah Papali'i my 2. I thought he was outstanding. Very good return. A player that we've definitely missed while he's been out injured. Like that cannot be understated how much we've missed his input and influence in a game. When he plays to his potential, he's great, and he's going to be great at Penrith like he was at Para. Unfortunately, we just haven't gotten the best out of him. And I think he may have been our first player to celebrate for Try July. I don't think previous games we've had any Try July celebrations until Isaiah decided to meditate and find his inner zen. And I gave my 1 to Lockie Galvin, much the same reason as Appy. Lockie just tries. He doesn't give up. He doesn't quit. He keeps trying to carry the team on his back as best he can, even though he's only a 19-year-old. But yeah, I thought he had a very solid game too.
Rob?
Yeah, I had the same 3 players in a different order. I had Lockie Galvin, as Aaron was just saying. He doesn't stop trying. He kept probing. He's putting players through gaps. I think he put a beautiful ball for Lauli'i. Like when he was being held by 2 defenders, he put a grubber kick for Stafford Toa. If it's 6 inches to the right, Stafford probably gets that ball and scores a try. He's just the X factor in our team. The 2 points I gave to Papali'i, it's an indictment that I'm giving it to someone that came off the bench and didn't start the game. He was brilliant. He can play middle or edge. And it's sad that, that's one of the 9 pieces that should have been staying at the club. I don't understand that decision, but I mean, we don't know the proper inner workings of that. But I would have loved to have seen Papali'i play outside Lockie Galvin for 1 game instead of being a middle, just 1 game outside Lockie or 1 game outside Luai. And we're not going to see that most likely. And I gave the 1 point to Appy because, as Aaron said, he doesn't stop trying. Obviously, he made that mistake with the kick for touch. Don't know if I agree with Aaron about the leadership side of things. I think Appy leads with his actions. Like he does. He's not a massive talker, but Appy's come from a Penrith team where everyone knows their role. He's in a Tigers team where most of the blokes don't know what the hell they're doing. They're still learning. So I gave him 1, but yeah, there's just Appy can have a bad game and still be in our best 3 players at the moment, which again, it's not saying too much for our team.
Based on your votes, Papali'i got the 3, Appy got the 2, and then had to split. It was a tie for third between Talon and Samuela. So Lockie is on 63 and Appy is on 62.5. It's literally 0.5 between the 2 of them. A good 27 ahead of Buller in third, Samuela in 4th, and Stefano falling off the face of the earth down in fifth. Do you have anything for us, stats man, for this one? Is your stat for this game or the next game, as?
Next game.
Next game. All right, let's save it for when we get our guest on. So just a few stats from this game. We might skip the Benji presser as well. Yeah, we're an hour in already. Possession wise, 49% for the good guys, so pretty close. 34. I mean, the Warriors only 77%. The Warriors weren't that good in this game. Like
they're gone.
Yeah, if we were half decent, we could have got the win here. They weren't impressive at all. Post contact meters an extra 60 for them. Line breaks 8 to 5 to them. Tackle breaks an extra 12. So what else we got? Offloads only 7 for ours. I guess in New Zealand is a bit greasy. What else we got? Anything there? As your screen's actually bigger than mine, I'm struggling to read my own screen. Here, any tackling 88%
did you just
efficiency.
Miss tackles? Yep.
Yeah. Well, 40 missed tackles. Just not good enough. It's 1 every 2 minutes. Yeah. Errors 12 for us, 10 for us.
Tries, that's part of the problem.
Yeah. Penalties 4 all, and then ruck infringements. We got 8. We got 8 set restarts. Is that right? Yeah, we should have. Anyway, meters gain. Sorry, I told a lie. Dream Buller led. Steph was second. He was almost up there. So Buller had 129. Steph 125. Lockie Galvin 118. He was only 11 off being our leading meter runner. Post contact was which painter is that as?
That looks like Sione.
Sione led post contact meters 46 and a line break. 1 line break each for 5 different guys. He had the most. Steph had the most hit ups. He had 13 runs. Good on you, Steph. 5 tackle breaks for Appy. Offloads. 7 different players had 1 offload. Not a single player had a second offload. Ruben Porter leading tackler. Is he the new Alex Twoll? 42 with 2, just 2 missed. Twolly got 34 without missing a single tackle. Appy 32 and 6 missed. We'll skip the presser. Let's get our special guest in. Finally got him back. Our man in North Queensland. He looks like what's the bad guy in Star Wars as? He's looking the Sith.
He looks more. He looks like Anakin. As he was getting. What's the word I'm thinking of?
The Force. The Force. I don't know Star Wars. I know fuck all about Star Wars.
When he was being corrupted to the dark side.
Just like Stefano. Whatman Jaw, how are you this evening?
Gents, I've got this hood over my head because of embarrassment, because the last time I was on your podcast, Cowboys got pumped all the way into the core of the earth, and now I return. So I'm also looking like every other Cowboy supporter that will be attending this Thursday night out at Leichhardt Oval. So thank you very much for the opportunity once more. I've enjoyed listening to you guys as well.
Thank you.
Disagree with a few points as well. But no, I'm very, very excited and grateful that I'm on here again, guys. Thank you.
Great to have you back.
Add on to that, Sam, massive kudos to you for how you reacted to that game after the fact. I went to see how you, when you did your tipping video for the following round, and how you had, I think, the face paint that made it look like you had been mauled. I thought that was brilliant.
Thanks,
massive chef's kiss to that.
Righto, as run us through. Actually, I'll do Shane. Shane Coates sent us a $5 super chat. Good on you, Shane. Said, "What the fuck happened to contesting the kick? Was this just a one-off deal for the Canberra game? We haven't done it since." Good. I think the same thing too. Fucking put pressure on the kicker. Righto, as talk us or run us through the West Tigers for Thursday night's game at Leichhardt Oval against the North Queensland Cowboys.
All right, so a few changes this week. So Jareem Buller is still at fullback. Solomon Aliamalo and Charlie Staines are the wingers. Solomon Atape and Justin Olimer in the centres. Lockie Galvin and Latu Fainu are the starting halves. Stefano Utoikamanu and David Clemmer are the front rowers with Api Coruscant at hooker. Ruben Porter and Samuela Fainu are in the second row with Isaiah Papali'i at starting lock. Talon De Silva, Alex Seyfarth, Sione Fainu and Alex Twal are on the bench. Heath Mason, Justin Matamua, Josh Felady, and two other players whose names I can't read on the screen are our reserves.
Yeah, a little chase bet icon is
I'm just
covering.
pulling it up on my screen now. The other two reserves are Declan Casey and Tim Johannesson.
Righto. Thoughts on our side this week, Rob?
Well, Fanua Bole's a big out. Not really keen on that. I think seeing Latu Fainu at 7, and obviously I think his minute restrictions going to be off this week. So he's been on limited minutes, and that's the reason Appy started at 7, or played 7 last week. Again, though, I know he's doing it for the team, and I know it's because Latu was on restricted minutes last week, but you won't see Craig Bellamy put Harry Grant at halfback. You know what I mean? So, but anyway, Appy's back to his rightful position. Look, I'm really curious to see how we bounce back from last week. I know the score looked respectable, but I don't think we were ever going to win the game. I'm hoping the Leichhardt factor can do something. The Cowboys are just more desperate again. They had a pretty decent win against Cronulla minus Will Kennedy, which is still a decent scalp. I'm just interested when we'll get onto the Cowboys team shortly, and you'll discuss it with Sam. But when you do finish that, I'd just like to know Sam's thoughts about the Cowboys telling Val Holmes he can look elsewhere, what his thoughts on Val Holmes are.
Yeah, go for it.
Now?
Yeah,
alrighty.
go for it. Yeah,
all right. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Valentine. Let's start at the start, hey? So we signed him up, and his first season was in 2020, and I'd say 2020 was a write-off. 2021, he had a bad year. In 2022 and 2023, he was top 3, top 2 centers in the game. This season, it's bang on average. And now that the rumors are coming out that the Dragons are circling and thinking about and listening to you guys talk about strike centers, wouldn't Valentine Holmes fill up a beautiful spot for you guys? And considering the war chest that you've got, it is possible, maybe not entirely, but it is possible. And I think that with the emergence of Jackson Purdue and in the way that he has filled in the center position, if Valentine Holmes was to move on, it wouldn't be entirely heartbreaking considering how exciting this young Purdue is, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I personally, I think he'd be great. So it depends on money. I mean, next year we've got that much money, it doesn't really matter what we pay him. So I don't know if we could spend $2 million. Really, like it's going to be hard to spend $2 million, I think. So it would depend on his contract following next year. I think he's 29 years old this year.
Yep.
Yeah, which
Still
isn't
in
too.
his 20s.
Michael Jennings is not. He's not lighting the world on fire, but he's doing a job he's my age. He's fucking old. He's 36. I think he's an 88 baby or 89 baby. He's 35, and he's still going. So I think Val is still Origin quality. He's a goal kicker. That take the goal kicking off Appy. Like he's better than any goal kicker that we've got at our club. Like I don't know. I've seen mixed reactions from fans when I put it out there on the socials, but I'd be quite happy, with him in the centers, with assuming Justin Olam can get his knee right. That center pairing. Yeah,
you're polite calling it mixed because I've seen like a negative reaction, and I'm surprised. Like I don't think it's such a bad signing, but I reckon 3 out of every 4 comments has been negative. He's washed up. He's on the way out, etc., etc. I mean, he can play center. He can play fullback. He can play wing. I think when he was with Cronulla back in like 2016, he was the best winger in the world. Like the guy can play multiple positions. It's just about does he have that drive to be as good as he can But we need quality players. The guy, I mean, I know he hasn't been playing great, but the guy did play Origin this year, and I know Stafford Toa owned him that night, like that we're talking about one night, but then Stafford Toa's a reserve grader, so I don't know what was going on there with Val, but I'd take him in a heartbeat. Like, it's got to be an upgrade on what we've got, doesn't it?
But he's probably going to get a Flanagan at the Dragons, but I don't know.
Yep.
As I reckon he's worth, I'd love him in the centres.
Don't have to throw the kitchen sink at him, but he'd be worth it at our club.
I'd pay. Would you pay his? What's he on? They're saying 900K next year.
No.
700.
I think he signed onto a contract that was about 900 to 950,000 a year,
to play
and I think if the Cowboys are going to offload him, I think they might put in 150 grand, maybe that 200
have to chip
number.
I wouldn't pay more than 650.
You want to go 7?
I don't know.
I don't know. We've got $2 million to spend.
That's not the point.
It depends. You'd hate to do it, and then Brian To'o comes up or something.
Yep.
As well, but yeah, I don't know. It's not my money. As what are your thoughts?
I mean, I'd take him for the right price as well. I think maybe around that 600 to 650K would probably be there, especially if he is going to play centre as opposed to fullback. Obviously, fullbacks earn a lot more money than centres do. He's a very good backup fullback, but if we're signing him primarily to play centre, I wouldn't want to pay too much of his current contract. And if we were to extend his contract with us beyond when his Cowboys contract was due to end, I wouldn't sign him for much more than 650.
What's Buller on, do you reckon?
Oh, Buller's on peanuts right now. He's only got a minimal upgrade.
So if we're playing our fullback peanuts, does it really matter if we pay the centre more than we're playing? If Buller's
going to get upgraded. Buller's going to get upgraded.
He's already been upgraded. He's on like he's on like a 5-year contract now, I think, and I think it's maybe around the 500 to 550.
By the time Val, if you get 3 years out of Val, and then pay Buller after that, like if you're paying Val plus, if Valentine Holmes plus Buller equals 1.5 million, like if it's $1 million to Buller, it's their bank account. It's not mine. Yeah. Like if you're paying him 900K to play in the centres, that's fine. If we've got a fullback, you're only paying 500K.
Yeah, but he's not worth 900. But as we saw last weekend, look, as Aaron said, the third choice Warriors fullback made a difference to the Warriors winning the game. Yeah. I mean, if Buller got suspended or injured or something, who goes to fullback for us?
And would he be a help for Buller? Could he teach him a few things?
Perhaps.
Yeah, I don't know. People act like it's their 900K getting thrown in. We've got $2 million. If they're going to chip in 150, you got your hand up there, Sam?
Yeah, man. Yeah. I just want to
in the bottom there.
I just want to put out there that, like, you've got these young fellas that look okay. Declan Casey, Josh Felaty, the Lalali'i twins or brothers or relatives. And you were talking about the Forge. You're losing Utoikamanu and Papali next season. I would be more so inclined to look at the forward pack. So at least that if you got a genuine good forward, making some meters for Luai, at least he can create some stuff, because if there's no good forward making meters for Luai, he's not going to be able to create anything next season. So whilst it is a huge option, it could be good for you guys to get Holmes. I personally think that you guys should be trying to zone in on someone, on a big forward. Like, let's just say, for example, I was just looking at the signings trackers before. In the Cronulla Sharks lineup, you've got that big mountain. I'm just scrolling all the way down now to Tuku Hau Tapahua. He's allowed to speak from November 1st this season. If you guys got a war chest, go for someone like Tuku Hau Tapahua, if you guys remember or can recollect who that guy is. I don't know about his motor, but he's certainly that sort of big bloke that you guys need. And I would be going for someone like him instead of just Holmes for this point in time, if that makes sense. Would you agree with that?
It does make sense, Sam, but we need both. We need strike out wide. We had forwards. I thought we had a forward pack, but we haven't got the best out of them.
And our forward pack has been demolished by transfers and signings and things like that. Also, I did look up Jareem. He's on 700K for the next 3 years with a mutual option, according to 0 tackle.
All right.
And just on the talk about
things.
potential signings and stuff, Josh did ask me to come up with a bit of a list at who I'd look at, so I have that prepared for if we are talking about that at some point.
Yeah, I did ask you to do that, and then Shane Richardson decided to go on
Unlucky
BTR. So maybe we'll save it for another show, because we'll have eventually this season will finish and we'll have fuck all to talk about.
Just send it to Richo, S Richardson.
Yeah, send it to Richo.
westtigers.com.
I got his email. I'll give it to you off here
with my member number.
Yeah, make sure that's in there. Back to this game itself. Yeah, in terms of changes, Justin Olam back in the center. So yeah, his knee must have magically healed. He's back out there, so that's good. I mean, it's a good thing. I'm half joking, but he's there. So I think Benji, he must be right to go. Adam must be anything. Adam, do you know what's going on there?
I'm not sure with Adam. I thought Adam was being rested last week only. So, but obviously Fata Ape will switch from left centre to right centre this week.
Who knows?
No, that's definite. Of course, Olam is always left centre.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, very inexperienced backline, isn't it? Obviously, the halves, Galvin, Fainu, Buller's only in his second year, Alamalo, and Tape's rookie years, Olam, Staines. Olam's obviously pretty experienced now. Even Staines, he's only fourth year. So, all right. Take us through the team from North Queensland, as.
All right, so fullback is Scott Drinkwater, Kyle Felt and Murray Taulungi are the wingers, with Valentine Holmes and Viliami Vailea in the centres. Tom Dearden and Chad Townsend are the halves. Jordan McLean and Sam McIntyre, an ex-Tiger, are the front rowers, with Reece Robson at hooker. Helam Lukey, Jeremiah Nanai are the second rowers, with Thomas McKaylee at lock. Harrison Edwards, Jake Granville, Kuli Kefu, Finafuiaki and Griffin Neem are the bench. Jackson Purdue is their 18th man, with Jamal Shibasaki, Jake Clifford, and Tom Chester, and another Thomas as their reserves.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, a couple of ex-Tigers, Sam Mack and
Thomas
McKaylee. How has our old friend Thomas McKaylee been going, Sam? He wasn't in first grade for a bit, but he's starting in the middle for you now.
Yeah, and he had about a month there, I think, from maybe round 6 through to round 10, where he did offer something, and he's come in very slow spits and spurts since then. But he offers that offloading game, and he can run like a kamikaze as well. I've really enjoyed McKaylee's dynamic when he has appeared, but that other ex-West Tiger, Sam McIntyre, I remember him playing for you guys, and I thought he's got something. I remember McIntyre playing for the Gold Coast, and I remember thinking the same thing. And since he's come up, I think if there was a Dally M award for Utility of the Year or, a most improved player, Sam McIntyre would be right up there. He has been tremendous in 2024. He's been so crucial to us. His ball playing, his ability to play at centre at times, this season has been so good. And Sam McIntyre, he is, I'd say he'd be top 5 players for the Cowboys in 2024 thus far.
Yeah, Thomas McKaylee, we had big raps on him when he was playing for us, and even talks of he'd be a Queensland Origin player one day. It was just my memories of him was he could. Such a great ball runner, but then just silly mistakes.
Exactly. He always had one error in his game, didn't he? Like a bad play the ball or a knock on or something.
Yeah.
But he always tried hard.
He could be frustrating at times, but you could feel there was something there. And he obviously went to the Super League for a bit, and then he's with you guys. So, as anyone else in that team, there's obviously some real strike power on those edges.
I will say the 2 losses for the Cowboys this week to injury in Ruben Cotter and Jason Taumalolo are massive outs, and we should consider ourselves lucky we don't have to play against them. Ruben in particular, I thought he was instrumental to Queensland and how they played. I honestly thought fairly well in Game 3 of the State of Origin, as well as when they towed us up in Game 1. There's obviously a lot of strike in their backs. Scott Drinkwater is very dangerous if you can't control him. Marital Lungi seems to score tries for fun against us. Tom Dearden always seems to have a good game against us, as does Valentine Holmes, no matter which team he's played for. Kyle Felt seems like one of those players who probably hasn't gotten to his best form this year, but he's dangerous if he gets the ball in space. And then a lot of their up-and-coming young forwards, Helam Lukey and Jeremiah Nanai, very, very solid second rowers, Jeremiah in particular. There's a very strong team here at the Cowboys, and I'm very surprised that they haven't gotten themselves back into the top 8 this year.
Yeah, I feel like they're, from an outsider, Sam, that roster has underperformed this year, I think, and a good coach as well. We obviously love Toddy Payton. He's a West Tigers premiership brother. What gives?
Yeah, what gives, man? I would have agreed with you in maybe round 14 or round 12 thereabouts. But since about the halfway mark, things just slowly starting to turn around. We're still susceptible to Barry Crocker, like we did against the Warriors, and then losing to the Manly Sea Eagles the way we did in Golden Point a few weeks ago. We should have won that game by 13 plus the way that we played, but we couldn't ice things. And since then, we've gone on to win 7 of our past 9 encounters. Matches this year, and we've gone away to Penrith and won. We were at half strength, they were at half strength, and the same match, the same sort of circumstances can be said about the game against the Roosters at Allianz Stadium as well. What's keeping our heads above water is that we had a 3-0 start. We've got a bye in hand as well. We're currently 6th at the moment, 1 win behind the Cronulla Sutherland Sharks, who are looking a little bit untrustworthy themselves at the moment. But this is coming into this Thursday. This is the litmus test. This is a huge game, and people.
Do you think we're a litmus test?
No, absolutely, no, absolutely not, man. You guys have proven this year that you've gone to a different level
test
at Leichhardt Oval. I'm not taking the piss out of you because this is huge for. We've got to be mentally tough coming into this Thursday night, because if we lose this game and then back up going against the Brisbane Broncos the next round after, that's 2 wins potentially in a row that we've lost, one of them being against the West Tigers. And I know that the centres at the moment, they're not as strong as what they could have been with Adam Dewey out, and there's other bits and pieces from you guys. But we can't take you guys lightly, and over our entire history, we've taken you guys lightly. What is it? We've only won 1 or 2 games in 22 years at Leichhardt Oval. So this is a huge game. And thank you. Thank you.
Always going to take an opportunity.
That's the one thing. That's the one thing we can. It's basically the Cowboys are the one in a franchise that's struggled for most of its existence. The Cowboys really.
We love them.
Yeah, it's the one. Yeah, obviously the 2005 grand final, and it's just
shut up.
The semi-final that year.
The semi. We beat you 3 out of 4 times that year. And obviously, Thurston never beating us in the system.
So seriously, this is a huge test. It's a huge test for us, man, because we've proven this year as well that we do take teams lightly. We have taken our foot off the gas against teams that we should beat. So what are you guys going to prove? Not you guys, the Cowboys. What are you guys going to do this Thursday? It really is fucking put up or shut up. And a one-on-one matchup that I'm looking forward to this weekend is in the Battle of the Centres, though. Viliami Vailea, the young man, he's done some explosive things, but has always performed under that line. He's been average, I'd say, this year with a couple of standout moments. He's going up against Justin Olam this weekend. So the thing that I'm concerned about is that you've got Samuel Afanu, Lockie Galvin, and Justin Olam all on that left edge for you. Our right edge defensively, when you got Vailea and Chad Townsend in there, and Finu, the form that he's in, the way he's gone about his game in 2024, that concerns me, man. Either Olam or Finu could be punching a hole right between Vailea and Chad Townsend this weekend.
Okay, I'm going to load up on that on the Chase Bet account. Just got the previous games. Yeah, with plenty of W's for us. We're used to seeing a lot of L's in these. But yeah, last two games, obviously, North Queensland earlier this year, and then let's not talk about the 2023
one.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about the home win last year, but yeah, obviously one of the most odd. It has to be some sort of record for most points scored by two teams against each other, or
the biggest turnaround, at least,
the biggest turnaround or something. I don't know if you can, how the hell you'd find that stat, but just insane that happened. Is that your dog?
I had a in our review of the Cowboys. In our review of the first Cowboys game this year, my stat, I don't remember what the exact numbers were, but I do remember that my stat was something along the lines of how many points we had scored combined between us and the Cowboys in our previous, I think it was something like 255 minutes or something like that. How it was very close to a point a minute across all those games, obviously a 42-28, a blank to 0 and a 66-18 are really going to kind of make those numbers pretty high. And then I'll just bring it up now while you've got this up, because that's what my stats man for the week is about.
Yeah, go for it, Az.
The number of games we have. This is the Cowboys anyway, is the team we have the best record at any ground, excluding teams that we've played one match against at a ground. For example, the Panthers at Suncorp, we've only played them there once, and we're 1-1 against them. So excluding those sort of grounds, we have played 11 against the Cowboys at Leichhardt for 9 wins and just 2 losses. And that was our first game there against them. And in 2021 as well was the second one.
Yep, 2013, beat them 22-20. 2016, beat them 26-14. What else we got there? 2018, 20-12. They're all similar kind of scorelines too, aren't they? 28-4, 2019. And then you guys got the win in 2021. That was a COVID year. It doesn't count. You won 34.
That was also
30.
the Tommy Rodonicus Memorial game. That was the week you passed.
It was, yeah. Oh, yeah. Someone was.
That might have been someone booing.
Yeah, someone was on the front and center in the Latcham Robinson stand on camera, booing the crowd. Righto, your comments of the week. Byron Calso, chosen by. I've been getting Az and Rob to pick these, so you guys are the chosen ones by the boys for this one. Byron Cow said, looks like the rookies really did outshine the senior players tonight. I predict next season that the rookies from this year will make the leap and really show that the NRL players. Some really positive signs, just that lack of experience crushing them. This season just isn't it. We lack polish and any sort of ability to finish a set or create a try, scoring opportunities, especially in the red zone. We had them right there for the taking. We shit the bed as per usual. Thought Latu was solid without being spectacular, and De Silva probably should have been utilised better. Not looking forward to the 200 changes Benji will probably make next week. Did you choose that one? No. I was Az picked that one.
What's his name?
Byron,
yeah, I think I might have chosen that one.
Was me.
Oh, it was you, Az. It was Az.
Hang on, who did I choose?
I think you picked Shane's. Shane's is next. Shane the Coet. Benji isn't doing himself any favours at the moment. I get we can't replace players as we are very low on stocks, but why can't he come up with something new? They had nothing in that game. For example, why did we only contest the ball on every kick against the Canberra a couple of weeks ago, and it's been tumbleweeds since? And he paid us $5 earlier in the show to say that as well. Oh, Jesus Christ. Who chose James's essay?
I think that would have been Rob. Because
I chose James and Ben.
All right.
Yeah,
the one night I can't get you to read it. Right, James says, a very poor game all around, very little penetration or go forward, too many unforced errors and missed tackles to compete in the NRL. We look like a club that has given up for most of this game, somehow came back into it just after halftime, only to clock off again and watch the game slip away. Benji is struggling. Papali was our best player. Porter was not too far behind. Appy tried hard with the position switch, so I'm reluctant to be too critical. Sione Fainu and TDS added some strong tackling and go forward when they came on. Our centers, wingers, and fullback were not terrible, but they just do not produce enough in these situations. The Warriors were not that good, but they creamed us in run meters and smothered us in defense. Based on that performance, it's hard to see us winning another game this year, maybe with our best side in the park, ? Last game at Para could decide this, the egg and spoon
I thought
race.
that was an outstanding summation.
It was.
For someone to put that much effort into it, that had to get read out.
Yeah, fair enough. Yep. Quality and quantity. And then Ben said, rinse and repeat for the last 5 weeks. Defending with our wingers 15 metres infield is atrocious and infuriating. Defenders not moving up in the line. Then we get to the sheer lack of fundamentals of footy not working. It's just got to the stage of laughing rather than getting angry. I don't know what we do at training or what is thought up of in the coaching manual. For fuck's sake, this effort is so far away. You don't have to put the star over the fuck, Ben. We'll read it out. This effort is so far away from that Raiders game. It's scary. While we're at it, Stefano needs to be dropped to reserve grade and have the offer removed. Well, doesn't matter now. He's absolutely tanking and sabotaging. Can't wait to watch the next round when we find new ways to screw up again and again.
It's the truth. And it hurts, but it's the truth.
Righto, tips for next or this incoming round.
Yep.
We're playing 48 hours, which is crazy. Let me get up
The first game anyway.
ChaseBet app. Az and I have tipped the Tigers. Why are you a coward?
Well, actually, I'm excited by that because I think twice this year you guys have both tipped the Tigers and I tipped the Cowboys and the Tigers have won.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to tell you that Valentine's Holmes' value is going to go up this week. He's going to get a double. Because Mr. Fata Ape, who tries his hardest, cannot tackle.
Sam, prediction for this one?
Yeah, I think that we are not going to keep the Tigers scoreless. I think it's going to be akin to a 26-12 scoreline.
In your favour?
Yes, sir.
That's very bold, Sam.
My money this week would be on the overs, just given the past history between the two teams. But in saying
just
that,
about to say that.
I think.
No, but given Aaron's stats about a point a minute, it's roughly 70 or 80 points a game.
I think it's meant to be. It's a cold, greasy, wet night at Leichhardt. A lot of scrums.
Is it going to be raining?
I think it's meant to rain on Thursday. Yeah.
Okay.
A little bit.
I believe in the Leichhardt factor. I'm backing us in. I think we can get the job done.
Yeah, it's the Leichhardt factor.
Appy's playing, Lockie's playing, Latu's in the 7, like Rob said, with no restrictions on minutes. I think we can get the job done. Cowboys have proven this year that they are very susceptible to leaking points, as have we. This could very well be a more than a point a minute, 40 plus for both teams game. I probably wouldn't go that far. I'd say both teams are going to score at least 30.
Next game, Warriors Eels. Az and I have gone the heavily favoured New Zealand Warriors. Rob, you've gone $4.20 outside of Eels.
I have. You want to know
why? Yeah, please elaborate. That's the whole point of a podcast. Yeah.
Okay, well, I hate to say it, guys, but I think form against the West Tigers shows that it's not good form. South only just got over the line and they got hammered by Canberra. New Zealand struggled against us. I thought Parramatta played quite well against Melbourne in patches, and if it wasn't for an intercept, they probably could have had a big lead in the first half. They were up, and I think Bryce Cartwright did a flick pass that got intercepted by whoever the winger was at the time and ran the other way around. They ended up scoring next tackle. So I think they've got enough in them. They can hold the New Zealand forward pack. They've got a good back line. They're solid. They'll try hard. New Zealand are struggling. I think this is the end of their season.
You can get 15-1. Tigers in the Eels, 15-1.
You go for it.
Any opinion on that one, Sam?
I love the boldness of Rob going for Parramatta, and it does make sense. But I'm looking at Sean Johnson making a return. He might be rusty, or he might hit the ground running. It's all going to depend on Sean Johnson returning, and I'm going to go the Warriors to win this game 1-12.
Sam, there's also the George Costanza Tigers in me, where I feel like we're just so unlucky that Parramatta will actually get out of wooden spoon position. So I'm kind of hoping to reverse mock it.
The sea was angry that day, my friend. Dolphins, Roosters. Roosters heavy favourites in this one. What home is this? At Suncorp or at KO?
It's in
Perth.
Perth.
It's in Perth. Oh, that. Why are the Dolphins playing Perth?
First I've heard of it.
I think it's the second year they've done it.
Pick a home. But they bag us. Hang on.
I think they played the Rabbits there.
So the Dolphins play at Suncorp. They play at KO Stadium, and they play in Perth. And people give us shit for having multiple home grounds. What about just because the Dolphins are new, they don't get shit. They're not even a merged club.
The Roosters will get more fans in Perth than they do at their own home games anywai.
Roosters, I think, actually have the best home ground.
It's a Dolphins home game.
It's a Dolphins home game, but I think the Roosters' home crowds are actually the best in Sydney this year. They're up there.
No, they are. Yeah. When they're winning, they've got good supporters.
Good stadium. Yeah, fuck them. Broncos, Titans. We've all gone Broncos, but
zero confidence.
Yeah, the Titans looked. They came from behind to beat. Who was it? Dolphins.
The Dolphins.
Dolphins. Yeah, they looked.
And I stand corrected, but I'm pretty sure the Gold Coast started Brisbane's bad run this year, earlier in the year, in a pretty high scoring game. So they might have a chance.
Anyone got an opinion on this one?
Brisbane 1-12.
Yeah, I think Brisbane in a close one. Look what they did against the Knights a couple of weeks ago. They will really rue the missed opportunity against the Dogs, and if they lose this one, their season's probably done as well. So with the desperation with them for Adam Reynolds, I think he'll guide them to a winnie.
We've all on Storm, $1.11. Favorites. Whoop. We lost the headphone. It's going to echo. That's really annoying.
Can we try the other one now? Might have charged a bit.
Yeah, chuck it in. Doing it live. Can you guys hear the echo? Is that coming through the mic?
No.
We roll on. I should have just played it off. It should. On to Storm. Yeah. Anyone? Can the Dragons win?
No.
Munster's back. I think that says enough about this one. He's back. He's back in the starting side. He's going to be determined to find some form leading into the finals, and I think this is a perfect game for them. The Dragons are coming off getting walloped by the Panthers, and I don't think it gets any better for them this week.
It's all right, just leave it.
I'm not going to say 13 plus. I'm going to say 20 plus.
And I'm just going to jump in and say, get on Elise Katoa to score a try.
Okay, that's your Rob Stradamus.
He will score a try this week. And if he doesn't score a try, see Josh.
See me. Fine, come find me. Sharkies. We're going Sharkies against the Rabbitohs. The Rabbitohs out of it? Are they gone? Are they gone yet?
No, I think they're on 20 points with a ridiculously bad differential.
Okay.
So there's only us and Power on, I think, 12, one team on 16, then everyone else is on 20 and up. They do get Cameron Murray back this week, but I don't know. Souths are a bit rocks and diamonds.
You're probably going to need 13 wins. Souths would have to win their last 6 games to make 13 wins. So one more loss, and I think they're done.
On to Penny Panthers. We've all gone Panthers, Knights, $6 outsiders. Penrith, got Cleary back. Read today, Jerome Luai has the best winning, the quickest,
fastest player to 100 career wins.
Leave it to the stats, man, to get it for me. Yeah, fastest player to 100 wins since the Dragons. Yeah, so he's 82%. Yeah, 122 games to get to 100 wins. That's crazy. Let's hope that can we cop 80% winning percentage.
That would be absolutely glorious.
A 20% winning percentage would be better than at the moment. What are we at the moment? 4 out of 4 out of 24. That's about
4
where
out
we're
of
at.
24
Yeah.
is 1 in 6.
16
so
and 2/3.
16%.
Yeah. Fuck me. Right, NRLW, so you headed out to Campbelltown on Sunday afternoon.
I did.
The girls won the second half, at least.
They did. Unfortunately, they didn't get any competition points for it, like Rob said earlier. But yeah, they won the second half. They worked out how to defend after what was a pretty shoddy start, I'd have to say. First 2 Raiders tries just came off the back of us making silly mistakes. First one, we got a penalty. Didn't manage to kick the ball out on the full. In hindsight, they probably should have just carted that one up the middle of the field because it was a penalty right in the middle of the field. And I think the Raiders learnt a lesson from us failing to do that, given the prevailing winds on the day. Second try came off a miscommunication between Lozana Lutu and I forget who the other player was, trying to catch a kick return. And then from there, we just struggled. We couldn't get anything going when we had the ball in hand because we kept making errors. And when we were defending, we just kept giving away penalties, and it was always going to be very hard to come back from there when you are, I think, 28 points down after a little over 20 minutes. It's always going to be a bit of a mountain to climb. But from that point to score more points than the Raiders, I thought was great. The second half, obviously, like I said, a lot better defensively. Rakea Horn scoring that first try. It was a bit of a shame that was the first try because we should have had a try a little bit earlier. And then Batil Vedi Welsh doing what Batil Vedi Welsh does in the second half to score another one for us. Yeah, it was good to see how they got into the game, got into the grind a little bit better, did things in the second half that they probably wanted to do in the first half. Noddy summed it up pretty well in his press conference, saying we just didn't show up with the right intensity to play the game, and made all those silly mistakes. One thing is, I will say I feel for Tess Staines. She was visibly distraught when she came off at halftime, being led up the tunnel. Some of the fans near me were trying to give her some encouraging words because she was absolutely shattered. But she performed better in the second half as well. And I hope that moving into our game against the Gold Coast this week, we are a little bit better from the start. If we don't miss the start, we'll have to see what happens.
Aaron, in 2022, Noddy took over the NRL team, and a guy called Adele Hudge took over the Harvey Norman's team. We were running 7th at the time. We ended up winning the comp. Pascoe banishes Adele Hudge, and Noddy gets the job again. And now, I think we did no good last year. We had a bad start to the year. What are your thoughts on that?
We actually had a really good start to the year last year. We won our first 2 games. We're sitting top of the ladder after beating the Eels and the Sharks.
First 2 games. That was it.
Obviously, disappointing to not win a game after that. Adele, I don't really know too much about Adele and what Adele is able to do as a coach, but I mean, I think Noddy may have always been the plan at that point, considering that was around the time where he was interim coach for the men's. And I don't remember the exact conversations around that, but I think Pascoe, it might have been, had the conversation with him about stepping into that role. I think maybe Adele could have been a better option, but it's one of those things I guess we'll never really know, unfortunately.
Yeah, you find a winning formula, you win a comp, and that's your reward. You don't get to coach the team again. Classic Justin Pascoe.
Is he still at the club, or
Pascoe, isn't it?
No, I mean Adele.
Adele, is he still there?
I don't know. Well, he's not head coach. I mean, he's probably got some role. I've only met him once or twice, but I don't hear much.
He's not coaching the Harvey Norman women's team.
I don't know. I don't know what I don't know the bloke. I'm just saying, like, this guy won a comp. Where is he now?
Fair.
Why isn't he part of our staff in any way? NRL, NRLW.
3-2-1 for this game, as we'll do a 3-2-1 for the girls this year, and you're going to be in charge of that.
No worries. So 3 points I gave to Kezi. She's an exceptional leader. Every carry she made looked like it had the potential to break the line. I think she was one of the few players to not make errors that really changed, I guess, any momentum we may have had at the time. She was one of the few players who was out there leading the girls around as best she could. I gave Bo Betty Welsh 2, brilliant try, always dangerous, carrying the ball from fullback. Really solid game overall from Bo. And Tara Renke I gave the 1.2. I thought coming off the bench, she was one of the players that really was able to swing the momentum of the game against her former club. She tightened up the defense a fair bit. Really solid tackling performance. Overall, I thought it was a pretty good game for
her. New South Wales. Sorry, as anything else on the girls?
Not really anything about that game. Just do you have the team list for our game against the Titans?
I don't. Sorry. Yeah, run us through the team list. I actually didn't get the team list for the other grades up because we had the technical difficulties.
So I'm just going to pull it up very quickly.
Just run us through who's different. Run us through who the changes are.
We are unchanged.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure we've got the same reserves as well, but the 1 to 17 at the very least is the exact same.
Okay, sweet. New South Wales Cup, they got the win at least over the Wars. They won, before the first grade side. So like Richo was. So did you say? Was it you that said earlier?
I think he said it. I think we scored a try with 5 minutes left in the game to take the lead.
I'm sorry, I meant it. Was it Richo that? Or you
yeah,
that said
Richo said it. 50-meter try.
Richo said we need a strong second grade team.
Yeah. They're playing the doubleheader against the Roosters. So Jersey Flegg are also playing. They had the bye last week. So Flegg and Maggie's are at Leakham Oval, 12 o'clock and 2 p.m. on Saturday. And when are the girls playing as?
The NRLW girls are playing a doubleheader against the Titans up at Suncorp. Not Suncorp, Seabus. So that is 12:45 for the girls, and then
on Sunday,
on Saturday, then the men's Titans team are playing the Broncos immediately after at 3.
So playing at the same time as our Jersey Flegg. The Harvey Norman girls, they're playing on Sunday at 2 o'clock against the Doggies. They had a 16-all draw against the Mounties. Super chats, we already did our super chats. Patreon, what are the Patreon guys got for us this week?
You had 2 or 3 in there.
How are you going there, Sam? I'm checking in on you while I'm biding time.
I'm good. I'm good, mate.
Enjoying the show. You've been
Very
with us for
patient,
nearly
isn't
2
he?
hours, yeah. Righto, Sienna Chicken Wings, Ben said, not so much a rant, but now Stefano gone. Need to re-sign Paul and Sione as immediate as yesterday. Where do we go with the money? Something like 2 to 3 mil, not a lot in the market. Personally, I feel we need to target RCG, 2-year contract. Horsburgh, again, 2 years to see if we can get him over those injuries. Very good player. Holmes, but stipulate a wing option. Skelton, he's not going to be top 17 at the Dogs. He would slot straight in here. And then Shane, he said, with regards to the departure of Steph, I'm not that fast. Any player that wants ridiculous clauses like he had in his contract shows the true ilk of the man. His recent efforts confirm this. I really believe we would have had another Adam Blair situation on our hands had he stayed. Talis was right when he said that no matter where he goes, his job will be exactly the same. He'll plod wherever he ends up. Let's use some of this money to tie up others within the club and build from it. Thank you, Shane. If you do want to join, patreon.com/WestsLife, just for a few bucks. Join us in the Discord. Plenty going on, talking Olympics, talking all sorts of stuff, as well as footy. It's great fun on game day. We all kind of console each other. It's like Twitter, but without dickheads. It's all the best West Tigers fans in the land in there. And then a bit of NFL chat coming as well as the NFL starts soon. So plenty to talk about in the Discord. And that just about does it. We've snuck in under 2 hours. Sam, thank you very much for being with us again.
Thank you, Sam.
Thanks, guys. Thank you. Go Cowboys.
Oh, we have calm down. We're not quite hit the end button yet. And anything else to add, boys, before we say?
Looking forward to seeing everyone at Leichhardt Oval. We've got to show up. I think we're the most resilient fan base, no doubt. We haven't been in finals for, what are we approaching now, 13 years.
To us.
I just want to give a quick shout out to some Tiger supporters who have a really good salad bar in Westfield's Burwood Food Court, Wonder Kitchen. I frequent the place almost every day now. Really good people, great salads, great wraps, great snacks.
What's it called?
The Wonder Kitchen Salad Bar. It's pretty much like on that
Westfield.
KFC and in the food court of Westfield's Burwood. If you're ever in the area, just get in there. They're really good people.
What's the best thing on the menu?
Look, personally, I like the chicken pesto salad. It's just magic, absolute magic.
All right, done. As anyone you'd like to give a free shout out to? Hamilton Pub.
I don't even know if I want to give them a shout out, but yeah, I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing you guys at the game on Thursday night. As long as COVID doesn't kick my ass tomorrow, I'll be there. Thanks, Sam, for coming on. Always great to chat to you, and love the insight you have about the Cowboys and about, I guess, the NRL in general. Yeah, bring on Thursday night. At least we get our likely suffering out of the way nice and early this week.
Yeah, we're confident. Yeah, say good days. If you do see us at the ground, I'll carry some stickers with me again. A couple of people handed stickers to people that say good day. Last Leichhardt game, I'll put some stickers in my pocket, some WestsLife stickers. So say good day, and I'll give you a sticker. Who doesn't want a WestsLife bumper sticker? Nice quality vinyl ones. Both the boys, we've all got them on our cars. Yeah. So, Sam, I can ship one up to you if you want.
Please, mate. Please do. No, I'll take it. Yes, please.
I know. I think we're just about done it. Thank you for everyone who's stayed up late for us. Try and catch the end of the Boomers now. I don't think anyone noticed in the comments, I'm wearing a Jamal Murray jersey. And Jamal Murray is playing against the Boomers at the moment. So I think we are. I think Jamal Murray is winning. But I want him to lose. I'm Australian. Go the Aussies and go the Tigers.
Go the Tigers.
Go the Tigers.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the WestsLife Podcast. Please follow us at WestsLife Pod on Instagram and Twitter and facebook.com/WestsLifePod. You can also support and take part in the show at patreon.com/WestsLife and give us a subscribe on YouTube and turn notifications on. We'll see you again next time on another episode of the WestsLife Podcast.